Caution: this game contains scenes of violence and gore, as well as depictions of criminal acts. These acts are strictly punished by law. Please do not attempt to imitate them. This game also contains themes of sexual violence and self harm. This game is a work of fiction. Any relationship to real persons, groups, places, or crimes is coincidental.
Okay, so last time I finished out chapter 2 and started chapter 3. 4 a.m. Shibuya is a city that never sleeps. But at this hour, there were few people at Scramble Crossing in front of the station. Instead, the square was filled with taxis, there to ferry home drunks who couldn't wait for the first train. Most of the taxi drivers had their seats pulled back so they could nap. A few of them, though, took their jobs more seriously. They leaned forward on the wheel and watched the 107 building in Center Street. But tonight, they weren't watching for potential customers. They were watching with interest. A cleaning crew that had appeared. They were watching with interest a cleaning crew that had appeared about a half an hour earlier. How did they know it was a cleaning crew? Because each of the men wore a yellow armband with the. Okay, nigga, really was that necessary? Otherwise, no one would have associated them with it. Okay, I guess it was that necessary. The men were wearing black. Oh, okay. It was that necessary. One of the men held a strange measuring device that looked some kind of pendulum, and others around him using it to take readings of some kind. They weren't staying in one place either. They were all going all around Scramble Crossing and taking measurements they would then write onto a piece of paper. Right now, they were directly under a traffic light, silently watching the pendulum device. It made a sound.
地点 L2 の8、0.62メガ G ハイスコアです。
High score? Okay, that's interesting. 38 points higher than last month, huh? Just what we thought. But no one in Shibuya that night was watching the cleaning crew that closely, though. As soon as the passenger climbed into a cab, its drivers quickly forgot about the cleaners. And most of the drunks had already passed out and were in no position to look at what was going on around them. The cabaret girls and prostitutes, finally free of the stress that came with smiling at nasty drunks for hours, were getting into taxis to quickly return home. And so, no one realized that the government had not announced any plans to clean Scramble Crossing that night. Ah, shit. Even after the weekend ended, the furor over the fourth Nugent Madness case, the vampire showed no signs of slowing down. The corpse of a man drained completely of blood and his skin turning a sickly, inhuman green. It was found in the toilet on the Shibuya Inokashira line. Kashira. Not only that, a photo of the corpse was put up on an online auction site. At about the same time the corpse was found. The bizarre, cruel nature of the murder meant the media and At channel were sure to leap on it. The message of the auction page had also attracted a lot of attention. There is a shortage of type B blood. Large numbers of tissue packets advertising blood donations with the exact same text have been handed out in Shibuya. I had a packet of them with me right now. Thinking back, that strange text wasn't an ad for blood donations at all. It was an announcement depicting the next murder. The cops were looking for the part-timers that had been handing them out, but nobody could find much of anything in the way of clues. After all, people do that a lot, I heard, and so, like, why would you pay any attention to the people who are handing out tissues? And also, how are you going to find somebody who found specifically one of the people handing out tissues when there's so many people in Scramble Crossing? There was something very different about the vampire compared to the previous cases. There had been signs of it during the crucified case, but this latest murder really felt like a theatrical crime, a spectacle meant for public consumption. Some pundits were suggesting things like bringing more cops into Shibuya, or establishing a curfew for anybody under a certain age. But the number of young people visiting the city showed no sign of going down. Scramble Crossing and Center Street were as packed as ever. Wait. I could have sworn I could see Setathon on that last fucking page. Or am I going crazy? Nippon? Nippon. Nippon. Nihongo. The next Poon. The net was in an uproar. Several snakes or internet detectives were going around Shibuya and giving live reports on what they saw. And a popular new phrase was spreading among the youth of the city. Whose eyes are those? It was spreading not just online, but among the DQNs who walked around the streets of Shibuya. On 8chan, people were putting the phrase at the end of messages that had nothing to do with Nugent. This week's Blood Tomb didn't have enough set of time. Who's... I like that so much because that's genuinely something that would happen on the internet. I love that. I fucking love that. This shit has been so well written so far. Genuinely, and has had me captivated as fuck. I was just about to talk about how, like, Yua probably did actually like him or was interested by him, but then once she found the cross, she became, like, suspicious of him.
And when I say interested, I mean interested as if he was like a specimen of a person. Or like, you know, she saw him eating lunch at Bagan a couple of times. So maybe she like began to inquire on what kind of person he was. That kind of interested.
Or maybe once she walked into that nasty ass bedroom. Holy shit. But like, this is exactly something that the internet would fucking do, and that's really funny. This shit is so well written. The new weapons they added in the last kinds of patch are shit. Whose eyes are those? What kind of eyes are those? What kind of whose eyes are those is that? Like that. And your best work is a light pack. Nigga Prince outlived Mike Jack, nigga bum. Nugent was nothing but a source of fun for the youth of the city. But to me, it was an absolute nightmare. Yeah, because he says that. And he thought it's like Quagmire. It's like the fucking giraffe. Was it? No, it's not the giraffe. It's fucking Annalie. Annalie is left on his door, and he's like, "She's not even mine." And then she goes, "Giggity," and he says, "Ooh, why say that?" And that's what this reminded me of. Like, he thought "whose eyes are that" was his own like special thing, and then we see Fess say it, and now we're seeing fucking it be. I don't know if we know her actual name yet. I don't remember. I do, but I'm not. I don't want to spoil it. Anyways, and then fucking here it is now all over the internet. Whose eyes are those? And that's like, ooh, that's mine thing. That said, 3 days after the vampire incident, I'd managed to calm down. Of course, it was still in the back of my mind, but a solid weekend of ESO had helped me forget all the awful and unexplainable things that had happened. Today was a school day, and I'd even managed to make it through the day's classes by Slink Beam. We're thinking of... oh shit. Rare ESO items. I had grown up a little. And so, like always, I headed to At Cafe after school, and you sure you should do that? You sure Miss Kusunoki isn't, like, waiting for you? It'd been 2 weeks since the last time I'd come here. It was for the... oh my god, bro. It was the first time there'd been such a long gap. The musty... the mustard!
The musty crab.
Smell of the breeze coming from the air. The stench of cigarette smoke clinging to the manga. The pleasant feeling of reclining seats. And the silence, punctuated by the snoring of middle-aged men. It felt so good to be back. I looked in the chat log. I looked at the chat log for the PC in room 37 too. And what I learned was this whole thing was an act you put on. Shogun
あな
is
た自身
you. I hadn't seen Yua since then. We were in different grades, and I didn't go to school that often in the first place. So of course we wouldn't run each other that often,
ユア
but
の妄想はすごいよ。
Yua's delusions were crazy. I felt so bad for her. She must have had... Oh shit, my fucking lamp almost fell. Nigga. I'm sorry, you at this point you can't just accept that maybe some paranormal shit is going on. If somebody came to me and it's like the early 2000s and they say, "Hey, you were talking to this person and they were sending you the messages in a fucking future from the computer you were going to sit at the next day." And I have a track record of seeing the fucking future from when I was a little ass kid. Now, to be fair, this nigga is like a piece of shit. And he saw the future of all his classmates dying. And he was still so mad at his parents that he just pretended not to talk to the point where they took him to therapy. So yeah, he's an asshole. And I can't say he's an asshole just for doing that as a little kid. I can, but I'm not gonna. But he's continued to behave this way. So we know he's an asshole, but like, goddamn, man, at what point are you gonna accept maybe some like paranormal shit is going on? You know, fucking Seto Kaiba spends so much time just going, no, bro, no. Ugh. It was best to just ignore people like that. Things with Yua had been a disaster from the start. For the past 2 weeks, I'd been dragged into one mess after another. Oh, you're gonna get dragged to another one, my nigga. The police think you murdered. Police think you crucified that guy. Until then, my life had been incredibly peaceful. The only person who talked to me was Misumi. Hey, by the way, who wants to guess that the man who fucking died and turned green was the doctor? Why was all this bizarre stuff happening to me lately? Whose eyes are those? I didn't even want to think about any of it. That dying message was just a coincidence, I decided. I mean, they were all really common words. If somebody with a brain like mine could come up with them, anybody could. I didn't care who that message was meant to reach. No, that wasn't it. I couldn't let myself care. I suddenly heard a noise nearby. I shuddered in my reclining seat, shocked. It was the sound of a phone ringing, but whose? The place was silent, so the ringing sounded really loud. Nigga, it's your phone, you forgot?
もしかして
Bought several days ago. Trembling, I looked at the screen. Phones were supposed to show the number of whoever was calling you, right? Should I pick up? But I really didn't like talking to people. Who's calling me anyway? I hadn't given this number to anybody. The only ones who knew about it were Nana and the rest of my family. She had put their names in my contacts too, even though I hadn't asked her to. The number dialing me was registered in my contacts. Nigga, can you pick up the phone already? Holy shit. Pick up the phone! At least hang up. You're being a nuisance. One missed call, it read. I didn't know who called, but I certainly didn't feel like calling back, so I just decided to ignore it. You're being just a fucking nuisance, dog. I should learn how to set up a voicemail so this doesn't happen again. Oh, he's definitely gonna have the fucking blood tune. The ending song to Blood Tune or the opening, whichever one's more energetic. It's gonna be playing, blaring, and it's gonna be like, "Do not fucking call me," but like in Japanese, "Do not fucking call me ever. You're all lame. Love you. I hate you, mom and dad." Anonymous. Cell phones were such a drag. Do you have any plans for the summer? Yeah, I guess. I didn't like phones anyway. I mean, they were really weird. How was anybody ever sure that the person they were talking to was really who they said they were? There were a lot of phone scams out there, right? Did people just not bother to check? I just couldn't understand how somebody could talk to someone else when they weren't even sure they were real. I understood the physics principles that let you talk to somebody far away via phone, but I still found it hard to believe. I don't understand how it works. I just know it does. When you talked on the phone, your voice was turned into an electronic signal. Thank you so much. The signal was turned down a wire on the person on the other hand, and then turned back into a voice. So, thank you so much for explaining it to me. Now, how do wireless cell phones work, dumbass? For a cell phone, first electric signals from your voice were sent to a nearby cell tower, then transferred to a switching center via normal telephone lines. From there, they were sent to the tower nearest to the person you were talking to, and then sent via electromagnetic waves to their cell phone. It was an incredibly complicated and bizarre process. Thank you for explaining it to me, author of this visual novel. My voice is being transformed to electrical signals. Could the person I was talking to really hear every single thing I was saying exactly the way I said it? Wasn't there a chance that in the process of it turning it into an electrical signal, it could be end up being turned into something else altogether? This is gonna come back in like to actually matter, isn't it? Oh fuck. For instance, say I called Nanami, and instead of my voice being sent directly to her, it was sent to some weird building. And there was somebody I'd never met could pretend to be Nanami. Maybe I wasn't even talking to a person. I could be talking to a computer. That's why talking on the phone was so scary to me. It was scarier than talking to someone in person. Holy shit, you're a bum. Just a max tier bum. Finally had some fine shit believe in you and you fucked it up by carrying a murder weapon. And then you didn't tell her, hey, I didn't kill the person. You could have at least said, yeah, I can see the future. Although I don't know what that would have done for you in your situation. So I logged into ESO as Lisa Lotte. And 3 hours later, and 3 hours passed by. It'd been 2 weeks since I logged in as Lisa Lotte, but today I was able to do a great job with the character. I was really satisfied. Left home in a good mood. Center Street was as loud and obnoxious as ever. I always hated it. But thanks to all the store's light, it was so bright that it didn't feel like nighttime at all. At the end of the well-lit street, I saw someone in the crowd and recognized instantly. I froze. Is it Fess? The girl was. Oh! Hey! I don't quite know your name, Urple girl. In the middle of Center Street, where it's hard to even walk straight among the endless streams of people, she was standing stock still, holding a huge sword on her shoulder. Oh, how you doing? It was a bizarre scene, but nobody seemed to notice her sword. They parted around her like water in a stream breaking against a rock, moving by without the slightest change in expression. It was a girl I'd seen at the 107 building. She'd been there when I went to go buy a phone with Nanami. Shape of her sword, Suime uniform, with long black hair. That's not purple? It's just like fucking Toka. It's colored purple, but it's described as being black. They all matched. There was the girl who had been watching the crowds from up the stairs on the 107 building, and I remember something else when I saw the intensity of her eyes as she looked at me. I'd seen her once at school too. Long, shiny black hair that extended down to her waist. Oval eyes, a pretty but intimidating face. It was Girl B. It was old Girl B. The one who so rudely asked, "Who are you?" in the hallway after school last week. Why was she glaring at me anyway? I turned around to see if anyone was there, just in case I was being self-conscious. I thought maybe there was be someone she knew behind me, but there wasn't. She was looking at me with something that bordered on outright hostility in her eyes. Yeah, it was me she was after. I flinched. This must be how a frog feels when a snake is bearing down on it. There was no way I could glare back. It was hard for me to even meet her gaze. I had no choice but to look down. I should run away, I thought. Usually I'd take a left at the intersection where she was, standing around, and head to the across the footpath. Today I'd go around the front of the station. There were a lot of people there, but it was better than some dealing with some scary girl trying to mug me. It looked like Girl B was alone, but it was possible that she had a bunch of her delinquent buddies laying wait, and they were trying to lure me out and beat me up. Well, I wasn't going to fall for it. I turned around and couldn't believe what I saw. Huh? For some reason, she was there. I quickly turned around and looked at the intersection where she'd been standing a moment ago. She wasn't there. I looked ahead of me again. She was still there, holding her sword and glaring at me. When did she get in front of me? Somebody get the guy who directed Monogatari on this shit now! Nobody could be that fast. You practically have to teleport. How could she tell I'd turn around anyway? Hey. Hey! Her voice was shockingly clear. I desperately looked around. I wanted to believe that she was talking to someone else. I searched as hard as I could for that. Someone else she might have been meant to address when she said hey. But of course, there wasn't anyone. The only people nearby were a group of salarymen. They looked towards her for a moment, but quickly realized she wasn't talking to them and kept moving. Suddenly, she took a step toward me. That was all I needed to be fully sure. Purple girl was after me. Can you see it? I was terrified. No girl in my 17, so he's not legal, had ever been aggressive towards me. Tsubaki Kid Miya, known as Sunko, could be really mean when she was in a tsundere mood. But not even she was as bad. Okay, hold on. I gotta go look at what that. You know, when I was going to go look what that meant, I thought, who the fuck is Tsubaki? Well, there's my fucking answer. That's who Tsubaki is. God bless this man. Even as my brain was thinking about Tsundere H games, Purple Girl was still getting closer. She was a girl. How could she be this intense and scary? I thought it was quite strange, but the reason was actually quite simple. The intensity of her eyes, that, and the huge sword she was carrying. It had an extremely unusual shape for a sword. In an anime, it would have looked really cool, but if you tried to use it in the real world, it probably would be completely useless. It had to be from a mecha anime or something. Were there any new mecha anime lately? I knew it was a cosplay prop, but it looked so sharp, so strong. Like the slightest touch could take your finger clean off. It was such a strange weapon. You know, you said this exact same thing about Festus' sword. I asked if you could see it. Purple Girl was within 2 meters of me now. She swung that sword and was sure to reach me. I quickly took a step back, but it was too late. She got even closer. And then she really swung it. I crashed to the ground with my head in my hands. If I hadn't dodged, it would have hit me right in the head. But it probably wouldn't have actually cut me. But with that speed, it would have given me a concussion or caved my skull in. Please don't hurt me. What are you doing? I was so freaked out that I could barely speak. Purple Girl was staring down at me coldly. She was really close. Her bare legs were in front of me. If I moved, I'm so tired of this nigga dog. So you can see it. Sorry, I didn't see anything. I quickly looked down. She was asking if I'd seen her panties, and if I said yes, she was going to start something. But I didn't see them, I swear. I could probably see them with a little work, but I haven't seen them yet. Also, I'm not interested in real women's underwear. I only like the underwear on figurines of. Not delusion time. You're lying. You saw. You kept glancing at it. Really? I didn't. For some reason, she began to take off her shoes and socks. I almost caught a glimpse of her skirt as she lifted her legs, but quickly looked away. I tried to find an opening to escape, but even as she tripped off her socks, she was still staring at me.
やめ
だんだん大きくなってきたぞ。
Hold on. And 3, 2, 1. This is my Logitech 720p 30 FPS $30 webcam that I'm going to now be using. That I bought specifically to count numbers like John numbers. And now I'm going to be using it so you can see how fucking disappointed I am every fucking time some shit like this happens. Because the genuine look of apathy and neutrality on my face as soon as I saw her bare ass foot and underwear, it pissed me off. Anyways, with that being said, I'm not reading this shit out, dog. Thank you. God,
答えろ。
answer
見
me.
えるんだね。
You can see it,
理
right?
想度が。
The dis sword. Huh? I came back to my sentences. I came back to my senses and looked up at Purple Girl's face. She was still wearing her shoes and socks. She wasn't rubbing her foot on my crotch. It was just a delusion. Aww. It was just a delusion. It looked like she wasn't going to be starting something over whether I'd seen her underpants or not, either. But a discord? What was that? I'd never heard of that word before. It was clear she was referring to the strange sword-like object in her hand. But why did she want to know if I could see it? I decided to nod. Of course I could see it. How could I not? It was so big and warm, and she was holding it in the middle of Center Street. I mean, maybe in Akihabara I wouldn't have noticed it, but Shibuya wasn't an anime town. I
お
see.
前も集められたんだ。
So, you were gathered here too. Huh? Gathered? Who was gathered, and by who? I was here of my own violation, at
エラーを
least.
見たことがあるか。
Have you seen an error? Please to speak Japanese. Hey, thanks. I'm pleased to speak Japanese. Okay. Please to speak. Used to tease someone who's saying things you can't understand and tell them to speak clearly. I've never heard of that shit, but also, when this shit came out, hold on, let me go look up. We're gonna take a detour. 2009 is when this shit dropped. And I was 3. And it dropped for the 360. And I was still 3. So yeah, it makes sense that I don't really know too much about this. Please to speak Japanese, okay, thanks. It still doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. It was what I wanted to say, but I didn't have the courage. If I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me. I didn't have any idea what she was talking
見
about
たら
anyway.
教えろ。
If you see one, tell me. She turned away after she said that. Her skirt flew up and... God! I quickly closed my eyes.
私は
I'm Sena Aoi, a third-year student.
駅前の電車にいる。
I'll be at the train car in front of Hachiko. I opened my eyes, and the girl who'd called herself Sena was no longer there. I stood there in complete confusion, and it was only after I got back to the base that I realized I hadn't understood a single thing she'd said. Of all the weeks to have to go to school 3 times, what a depressing day. Hey! I heard a strange cry a few meters away from me. It was so sudden my body jerked in surprise. I looked toward the source of the noise and... Ah, fuck, it's my sister. Nanami ran over to me at an incredible speed. I tried to escape, but it was too late. She got in front of me, blocking me in. She'd always been really athletic. Hey, why did you try to run away when you saw your little sister? Because you're obnoxious, obviously. Look, you got all quiet again. Really? Why did my sister decide to go to Suime Academy? Of all the places she could have gone, it was a huge pain. Normally when I saw her at school, she'd come over and annoy me. Hey, how's the phone? Are you using it? You're not, are you? It's been a while since you got it, and you haven't called home once. I tried to walk fast and shake her off, but she followed me, refusing to give up. At least call home and let them know you're alive. That's why we bought it for you. If you really don't want to, you can call my phone, I guess. Mom's really worried. Are you eating right anyway? You're just eating junk from the convenience store, aren't you? You're not cut out for living on your own. Come home. Do you understand how it feels for me to watch you live like this? I'm always really worried. Shut up! What's your problem? Are you my mom? Why do you have to talk about this in the middle of the street anyway? We're in a bad mood. You're just making it worse. Fuck this nigga. Wait a minute. This place is, pretty familiar. It's incredibly embarrassing to have to go to school with your younger sister next to you. Sure, it happened...
Counting or not counting Takumi Nishicho.
Oh, fuck! I'm gonna fucking kill him! Nanami and I walked... Okay, and then the music went away, and, I mean, the last time we were over here, something special happened. A certain fine shit, where it was, you know, we were on some find your fine shit type of shit, so... She said shit like 6 times in a row. She'd been so mad a moment ago, but now she was quiet and seemed kind of out of it. Her eyes looked like they were drifting out of focus. Was that my imagination? Oh shit. Her footsteps were unsteady. Just as I realized something was wrong, she stepped out into the road. Car coming right in front of her. Hey, watch out! I grabbed her and pulled her close. The car drove past, the torn blazing. She'd narrowly avoided being run over. Hey, what are you doing? Huh? What? She seemed confused. Her eyes were blinking rapidly. Why did I just do that? Huh? Was she a total moron? Why didn't she know that what she had just done? Just to clear, this wasn't Moe at all. Not Mo. Oh my fucking. What are you doing? Are you trying to get run over by a car? Was there a car? Of course there was. Was she going senile on me? My mom is. Hey, brother, do you hear that phew 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 sound? What was she talking about? I hadn't heard anything at all. I heard the sound. I started to feel kind of weird. And over there, Nanami pointed to the corner. I saw Mom and Dad standing there, calling me. I looked where Nanami pointed. It wasn't my parents there, just some creepy guy. He wore a checkered shirt, fingerless gloves, jeans with the legs rolled up, and white sneakers. The backpack he also wore was stuffed full. He looked like any otaku you'd seen in Akihabara. He even had a video camera in his hand. Maybe he was some kind of peeping Tom. Hey, don't point at people. What a... Why would our parents be here anyway? Our home was in Shimokitazawa. Shimokitazawa. That's weird. I know I heard them calling me. The man looked at us. He was pointing his camera at me and Nanami. Ew, what the fuck is his problem? Let's go, Nanami. I got scared and ran away, leaving... of all the bums to ever bum, this nigga is the most bum. There was Memory Loss Subaru. There was Little Baby Subaru. Actually, no, not Chuki Shubaru was goated on the sticks, okay? And I'm not going to downplay him. But let's see. There was Subaru without his memory. There's Shido Itsuka. There's, I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to name every bum right now. Like half the fucking Honkai Star Rail cast. But out of all the bums, the Traveler from Genshin, but of all the bums to bum out, this nigga might be the most bummiest bum I've ever seen bum out. God damn. Shido, like at least when Shido's a bum, it's because he's in like fucking. He's currently in some harem situation where like 3 girls are trying to fuck him and he's not comfortable with that. You know, he's being sexually assaulted. So at least he's not bumming out in the craziest way. This nigga is sitting here walking to school with his little sister. Man, somebody give me a cuter little sister. Even Araragi isn't this much of a bum. And Araragi is a fucking bum, okay? I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna look straight into the fucking camera and say Koyomi Araragi is a bum. But he's a bum the same way Shido Itsuka is a bum. Where he locks in at the perfect time or at least uses his words well enough to fucking fix the plot. This nigga, I forgot his fucking name. Whatever it is. He's a bum.
お兄ちょっと待ってよ
I managed to ignore Nanami until we got to school. Then hustled down the bustling Then headed down the bustling hallway toward my old class. When I walked down the hall, I always walked on the side. I'd always make sure to go at the proper speed. Not too fast, not too slow. I'd make sure to keep my head down so I didn't meet anybody's gaze. These are my 3 rules. I need to be like the air, invisible. If I didn't want to stand out, that was my way of... What are you going to do after high school? Are you going to fucking kill yourself? Like, you don't make that much. You make like penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, dime, nickel, penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, quarter on ESO. I understand he probably makes more than a WNBA player on ESO, so I can't say penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, dime, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, quarter. But like, you don't make enough money to survive for multiple years, let alone you have no ambition of going to college. So like, what are you gonna do?
Yo, Taku.
Yo, Taka. Once again, however, someone appeared that would make doing so impossible. Misumi ran up to me from behind, and as always, gave me a little too friendly slap on the shoulder. Nice on nature, At least say hello. Well, I know that's not really a thing, I guess. Hey, I told you about that girl in Class D, right? The one who's really hot but never comes to school. Her name's Ayaseki. Aww. Aww. I have no clue what he's fucking talking about. And I made a huge discovery about her. Suddenly lowered his voice and looked around to make sure nobody was listening. He was probably about to say something dirty again. I felt fake. You felt sick, nigga. You felt sick? Okay. You know Fess, right? But when I heard what he said, I gasped. This Kishimoto girl is actually Fess. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sort of an omnipotent being. Well, not omnipotent. I'm sort of an omniscient observer, so... I mean... I couldn't believe it. Fess is a student at our school. And she's in our grade, too. For some reason, he decided to lean out a nearby window and look up at the sky with an expression of joy. This must be fate, right? We were on the 3rd floor. If he slipped and fell, he'd snap his neck and die. Or he'd land on his legs and fucking kill his entire lower half of his body and die.
I just remembered they did that.
Or he'd land on his chest and kill everything and break his fucking neck and break his spine and die. or break his ribs and die, or puncture his heart and he'd die. He leaned even further forward and looked down at the entrance to the school. Oh, great Take Kishimoto. She's coming here now. Huh? That was a crazy coincidence. Maybe there was some kind of fated connection between them. Like he said, not that I care. Okay, I'm gonna ambush her. Watch Daka. I'll show you my pickup techniques. There was a note of total confidence in his voice. He must be nice to be attractive. Sigh! Picking up girls was a foreign world to me. Not one that I had any interest in. Okay, there she is. Ayase. Wow, I wonder how I fucking knew her name. I hope I didn't look at the damn achievements by accident. Oh, well. Misumi was right. It was clearly her. I stood back a good distance away and looked at her carefully. It was a shock to see that she was the same age as me. Bess was wearing her Suime uniform and walking slowly with a look of ennui on her face. She looked like a completely different person than the way she'd been on stage. When she was singing, there'd been a sense of power and emotion in her voice, even when she was speaking softly. Now she just looked kind of sad and unapproachable. Misumi must have seen it and decided to deliberately ignore it, because he walked right up to her side with the same over-friendly attitude he'd always used with me. Hey, Kishimoto, good morning! Ah, what a brilliant but completely fake smile. How could you act that way with someone you'd never met before? He was an inspiration, an idol, but not someone I wanted to copy. Not in the slightest. Hey, I'm Daisuke Misumi. Nice to meet you. Oh, I think it's our first time meeting, right? But it's not. I went to Phantasm. That's not how you do. You can tell this nigga's a womanizer. That's not what you're supposed to do. You can't do that. You can't do. Oh my god, you can't. She clearly goes by a stage name for a fucking reason. You can't just approach her in the fucking hallway. I mean, it's already fucking 8 in the morning, okay? So you're already just fucking with her for no reason. But how are you supposed to get to know somebody if you're not even going to talk to them in the first place? All right? Let's look past that. You're in school. This is like the one place you're actually going to see each other. It might be at 8 a.m., and nobody feels like getting hit on at 8 a.m. unless you're touch starved. But whatever. She goes by a pseudonym when she works with her fucking when she's doing her music for a reason, nigga. You can't walk up to her and be like, "Hey, bitch, I know what you do. I know who you are, bitch." Can't do that, man. You see, we've actually met once before, and you know, the way you were singing then, it was just like awesome, you know? I mean, I'm not a trend chaser. The lyrics and the fact that you're cute, that was part of it. But what really amazed me was how good your band was. Like, it's the perfect match for your vocals. You know, I've been thinking I just want to start a band. Could you tell me how to find a good band members? Like, give me some. You don't play an instrument. You don't play an instrument, nigga. Be real. You don't play a single fucking instrument. Mizumi kept talking and talking. The way he spoke was different than usual. It was louder and more cheerful. And he wasn't directly hitting on her either. He was talking about her band as an excuse to go out with her. I'd never heard anything about Misumi wanting to start a band. It had to be a lie. I understood now. He wasn't hoping that the two of them had something in common. He was setting it up so that they would. But Bess didn't even look at him. What? Okay, Bess didn't even look at him. We're gonna go with the red delusion this time. Why the fuck not? She walked right down the hallway as if she didn't hear anything at all. Hello? Is this thing on? Bess suddenly stopped. Ayase suddenly stopped. She looked up, ever so slightly and slowly. Looked right at me. Me? I remember how it felt like when Ayase was looking at me at the concert. Over the last 2 weeks, a lot of real people had been staring at me. What was going on with that? Had I suddenly gotten really attractive? Ah, nigga booty sex.
そこの君
You.
はい。
Yes? I froze, stiff as a board, when she spoke to me. There was this otherworldly, unreal aura about her. It made her seem older than me. But she wasn't, was she? She was in my grade. Fess jerked her head at the direction of me to show she was
付き合わ
talking
ない
about
方
him.
がいいわよ
She shouldn't have anything to
こ
do
んな
with him.
人と
It's best to avoid guys like that.
おいおい。
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? What's wrong with me exactly?
うっとう
You're
しい人
obnoxious. Are you sure this isn't a delusion?
は
Huh? And fucking tongue sprite. Ooh, wah. Misumi looked really annoyed. He was glaring at her, but she didn't seem to care about him in the slightest. The mood between them had turned really sour, like milk. And this is also that fucking song that plays in the title. So it's like, fights weren't my thing. Whether they were verbal or physical. If I cause a problem at school, they put it on my report card. Maybe I should leave before anything else happens.
も
What?
しかして岸本さん
Are you making fun of me?
別に
No,
でも
but
目
you're
が
bothering me.
うーん
Huh?
あ
I
そう
see.
そういうこと言うん
So
だ
that's how you want to do this,
ちょっ
Kishimoto.
とさ
Let's go
人がいない
talk
ところで
somewhere.
二人でゆっくり
Just
話
the
そうぜ
two of us. We can have a nice chat. Misumi smiled, but his face was twitching with anger. He put his hand on Ayase's shoulder. I watched her eyebrows
触らない
twitch.
で
Don't touch me.
そう言うなって
Don't be like that. Just come with
触
me.
らないで
I said, don't touch me.
うっせえな
Shut up. You're coming with me.
バカな人
Fool. It only took an instant. I had been watching the whole thing, and I still couldn't totally tell what had happened. Got his ass. Hold on. I could see that cool looking mic stand. Maybe it was a sword in Fess's hand. I didn't know where it had come from, but Fess swung it like it weighed nothing at all. And the blade flashed in her hands, and Misumi's left arm had been sliced off the elbow. There was a huge spurt of blood as a severed forearm and hand fell to the floor, and then rolled across the reddening floor of the hallway. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see a thing. I couldn't see her take out the sword. I couldn't see her swing it. I couldn't see it cleaving through Misumi's arm. It had all happened in the time it took for me to blink. Next thing I knew, it was all over. My fucking arm!
手が
My hand!
俺
My arm! My arm!
腕が
Misumi had collapsed and picked his arm up off the floor. And I was trying to reattach his severed arm as if simply putting it to his stump would be sufficient. His screams echoed throughout the hallway. The students around us were screaming and running. And Ayase, she was calmly watching the panic. God, man, please don't go where I think we're going with this. And then she looked at me again. Her red tongue slowly licked her lips. As she smiled, cheeks flushed. It feels so good. That would have been that would have been kind of awesome, but it didn't happen. While I was enjoying my delusion, Fast had whispered something and
自
quickly
信なくす
disappeared.
ぜ
You're ruining my self-confidence, damn it. Misumi was in a gloomy mood after being completely ignored. It was likely if she was able to do so, not a guy like him, maybe Fast was a Yuri type. Okay.
それはすごくいいスールです
And you said that out loud, my nigga. Words cannot describe. I'm sorry. We're calling lesbian Yuri types. Is this nigga Gerber in 2009? And second of all, why the fuck did you say this out loud? And third of all, what the fuck did that girl say during the damn delusion that I was having? Because I didn't get to see it. I would like to have seen that part. You know, maybe I should not indulge in delusions anymore from here on out. Because like sometimes you'll do the delusion and then he'll snap out of it, and it'll come back, and it'll be like, yeah, but then anyways, this was actually said. And then, or like here, but maybe like she was just gonna whisper to it to him anyways, and it was intended for us to not see it. Whatever. Her ideal partner would be a